Alright, boom. Let's have a conversation about Newcastle and Eddie Howe. Now, I believe Eddie Howe has taken Newcastle as far as they can go. He's won them a trophy, he's got them playing in the Champions League, but there's not much more he can do. And you can't repeat this every season. They can't finish in the top 4 every season, they can't win the trophy every season. This season, for me, has been a terrible season for Eddie Howe. It's been a terrible season for Newcastle. I think right now Newcastle sit in 14th in the table. I don't remember this season them being in a top 4 battle. You saw them in the Champions League. You saw what happened to them. I just believe that Newcastle this season have been terrible. And I think Newcastle will part ways with Eddie Howe by the end of the season. And take nothing away from Eddie Howe. He's a great manager, very good manager. You know, look what he's done with Newcastle. The players he's brought in, the team he's built, just winning a trophy as well, playing Champions League football. Eddie Howe's a great manager, brilliant manager. But I just think with Newcastle, there's not much more he can do. He can't take them any further than they have been. He can't achieve more than what he's already achieved. And I just think Newcastle need to part ways with him and bring in a new manager, fresh ideas, new tactics, someone with fresh ideas. Because I think with Eddie Howe, it's done now. I think this season, like I said, has been a terrible season. You're sitting 14th. It's not where you want to be sitting. Next season, there's no Champions League football now. You're not winning a trophy this season as well. So I look at a team and I think, who's going to end up leaving? I'm hearing Tonali might leave. I'm hearing Gordon might leave. I know Trippier's leaving. The defence hasn't been the greatest. They need to bring in some players. I think the defence needs a whole new back line. Besides the full-backs, I think the 2 centre-backs, they need to bring in fresh legs. If they lose Tonali, they need to bring in another replacement. Lose Gordon, bring in another replacement. The strikers haven't done much. Hasn't been a good signing for the strikers. I think they've been a flop. Both of them, Wissa, Altamade, they've both been a flop. And obviously, if you're playing someone like Gordon, who's a winger, you're playing him up front, that says a lot. So I just think the signings have been a flop. I think they may lose some great players as well. They could lose the likes of Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali, Gordon. Anything can happen, Teams with money coming in, especially if you need money to buy players, you need to sell your players. I know they've got the richest owners in football, but obviously they can't spend how they want to spend. So I'm guessing they may have to sell players to be able to spend and buy more players. So like I said, I think by the end of the season, going into next season, we're going to see a new manager at Newcastle. And obviously, you're looking at Bournemouth, you're seeing Areola, he's leaving now. So could he be taking over Newcastle? Could he be their new manager? You don't know. Could be, maybe. He's another top manager as well. He's done really well with Bournemouth, done really well in the Premier League. I can see him at Newcastle as well. Like I said, this season's just been a flop. I feel for Newcastle fans because it's just been a terrible season. And you're sitting 14th. You may even finish 15th or 16th. So it's not really a good look. All the respect to Eddie Howe. He's done what he can do. And I think he knows it as well. And even Newcastle fans, as well. Like, Eddie Howe can't do much more. So maybe it's time to part ways, which I believe will happen. They're going to part ways with Eddie Howe and bring in a new manager. Who knows, we might even see Southgate come in. You never know, Southgate could be linked with Newcastle. You don't know, innit? But like I said, some of the players are all top players they've got. I think some of the players might even leave. I think Newcastle need to sell some players, bring in some new players, change things up. New manager, fresh ideas, and then boom, just go again next season. But this season, like I said, it's just been terrible. Question marks over Eddie Howe, question marks over him staying or not, coming, to Newcastle or not. But in terms of Newcastle and the players, they haven't really turned up. No one's really turned up, and you can't put it all down to Eddie Howe because he's not the one on the pitch playing. He's not the one putting out the performances they have been. There's just not been enough goals by the team. The players haven't really turned up. They've let Eddie Howe down, they've let the fans down. I just think, yes, so like I said, it's been a terrible season. Newcastle fans, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think what's going to happen with Eddie Howe, with some of the players, who's leaving, who's staying, what you think is going to happen by the end of the season, where you're going to finish, what you think of the season, and who you'd like to see come in, who you'd like to see Newcastle buy. But so far, it's probably been a 4 out of 10 season for Newcastle. I feel for Eddie Howe, I feel for the fans. It could get worse as well. Not that they're going to get relegated, but like I said, you're 14th right now, could finish 15th, maybe 16th. Big problems with scoring goals as well. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens at the end of the season. Let's see what happens in the transfer window. Newcastle fans, let me know what you think. But my prediction is that Eddie Howe will part ways with Newcastle. That's what I'm going to stick with. Eddie Howe will part ways, and you'll bring in a new manager. I think a new manager will come in at Newcastle. Areola, Southgate, who knows? And I think some top players might even leave. It could be Newcastle may go down in terms of like club status, in terms of like the players they have. If you're going to sell some of your best players and stuff, and you're unable to replace them, they may go down and not be a top club in terms of like trying to compete with a big team, trying to compete in the Champions League, finishing the Champions League spot. So I think the status as a club might go down, but then again, a new manager could bring that back up. But let's see what happens. Still got 6 games to go, 7 games to go. We'll see where Newcastle finish, and we'll see what happens at the end of the season.